Joined by the Lansing Lugnuts, Arik Sikula. I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler. Arik, you were drafted in the 36th round back in 2011. How'd you learn that you were drafted by the Blue Jays?
I actually got a text from one of my friends that said, congrats. And it was my friend who was the coach his son was the coach of the Blue Jays at the time. And he thought I got drafted by the Cardinals. So he said, congrats, like going to the Cardinals, that's awesome. And I was like, all right, this is awesome. And then I got a couple other texts that said, because my game tracker stopped working. Actually, I wasn't even there.
Where were you?
I was working out with my brother.
This gets more and more complicated.
Yeah. And I got a couple texts, and I was kind of confused until the Blue Jays scout called me. Nick Manno called me, and then everything was kind of cleared up from there.
How many scouts had you met leading up to the draft?
All the teams, 30-some.
So they were all there. They were all scouting you and watching you. Did you have any inkling maybe it would be Toronto?
Yeah, I had a good idea. I had a really good outing when they came, and the cross-checker was there, and I almost threw a complete game as a starter. And I had a good idea that was going to be the team. A couple other teams I'm very interested in as well, but very happy to be with the Blue Jays.
How long did it take from the moment that the draft finished till the time you were pitching in the minor leagues?
I signed right away, so I think it was probably only 4 or 5 days, and then I was down in minicamp, and then a week or two there, and then sent to Bluefield.
Even before that, how long have you been a pitcher?
I've pitched since I was 11 or 12, solely as a pitcher. My freshman year at college, I hit and pitched in high school.
You learned the fastball first. What was the second pitch you picked up?
I've always had a good curveball, and even when I was 11, that was my put-away pitch. And not that I promote that at a young age, but it was kind of I was taught by my older brother, and we didn't really have much of a tutorial on pitching at a young age. So
how'd you figure it out?
Just practice. Practice all day. We would go to the cage before school, after school, and it was just something that we did. It was fun, and it was good brother to brother time, and we had a good time with it. So I definitely think you should learn a changeup first, and probably not throw a breaking ball at such a young age. But
now you know.
Yeah, now I know. Definitely, if I have a kid, he probably won't be learning a curveball for a little while.
Have you had anyone ask you, how do you throw that curve? Can I pick up any pointers?
Yeah, I've had a couple people, and even friends from college or pro ball, and honestly, that is one pitch that is a very feel pitch. Either you have it or don't. It's one of those that are very hard to find it. It's the one thing that I'm very blessed to have, and I've had it my whole life, and just trying to perfect your craft now, and locate it every time, and be able to take some off and then put it away when I want to.
All right, so you've got the curve. How about the changeup? How did it take to find the right grip, find out a proper way to throw it?
Well, I don't throw a changeup, so that's pretty easy.
Fastball, curve.
Fastball, curveball, cutter. And I learned my cutter from Les Williams, my first year in pro ball in Bluefield, and that was his pitch. Everyone kind of idolized Les's cutter, so I picked it up from him. And then I've been talking with Tristan Magnuson was another person I talked to about it. And then I've been talking with Ian. He's just learning a cutter as well, and his is coming out to be almost as good, if not better than mine.
Is it tough to pick up the cutter? I remember Scott Gracie pitched here for the Lugnuts and only had a fastball, picked up the cutter, and took his pitching to a new level.
Yeah, no, that's a pitch that's pretty easily learned, I feel. I've seen a lot of people pick it up pretty quickly. And it's a lot about confidence, and you got to remember it's a cut fastball, not specifically a cutter, which is a new pitch. It's just a fastball with just a little bit of cut, so there's not much different than your fastball.
So what is it that separates one from the other?
So you're coming into a righty. Your cut fastball is going to move away from the barrel, so he's thinking that the ball is going to be right on the barrel. It's going to cut and hit the end of his barrel. And then vice versa with a lefty, he's going to start on the barrel to him, being right-handed, and then come into his hands, and usually produces a good effect for a pitcher.
How does the grip differ?
Very, very similar. It's just a little slight spin of the ball, and then usually instead of your fingers in the middle of the ball, they'll be on the outer third of the ball, and you don't get around it, stay on top of it.
I heard with the curve, you got to release it like you're turning a doorknob, basically get that wrist action.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I always think fastball, 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 and then the last second I have a quick turn of the wrist. And I think hand speed is very important with all off-speed pitches, but mostly with your curveball. Some people just it's a feel thing. I try to throw my curveball as hard as I throw my fastball, if not faster, and I think that has to do with a lot of hand speed.
Speaking with the Lansing Lugnuts, Arik Sikula. Arik, who's the toughest batter you've ever faced?
I remember my senior year, I was in an all-star game, and I faced Jed Jerko, and I think I had him 0-2, and I throw my curveball like down in the dirt for a ball, and he almost took my head off. So that's one. I only had to face him once, luckily.
You went to Marshall. He was a West Virginia Mountaineer.
Yeah, so we knew that going into our senior year of high school, and he probably had a better year. I ended up winning State Player of the Year. He probably should have won it. He's a great hitter. And then another one is Grant Buckner. He's with the White Sox in High A right now, another WVU product. I had one outing in Bluefield. I was cruising along, having a good year, and then he comes up to bat, hits a double, and starts an inning where I gave up, I think, 5 runs. And he's my good friend from home, and we talk about it all the time. And in college, he had a home run off me. Luckily, it was robbed. So he's got my number. But I faced him a couple times this past off season, and I think I got my money's worth.
We hear a lot about baseball in Florida or baseball in California. What is the West Virginia baseball scene like?
It is. A lot of people are really trying to start good things in West Virginia. It's not historically a great place for baseball, but a lot of people are creating either programs, facilities, a lot of lessons being given, and hopefully a lot more talent can come out of the area, as I feel that it is. I think we have four guys now in pro ball, one guy, Jerko, in the big leagues. It's something that, just hopefully will continue to get better, and hopefully the people from West Virginia will get back to the community.
Clearly the scouts are getting in there and seeing the competition taking place.
Yeah, I think a big help was with Marshall moving to Conference USA. That's a great baseball conference, so we get a lot of great players because of that. Then more scouts come in, and it's just kind of a trickle effect in that way.
Well, you get better through competition. That's what we've heard.
Yes,
the more you challenge yourself. How have you gotten better from your college days, your high school days, now into the professional ranks?
Well, it's just because you have to know everyone is competing for your job, and it's not like, oh, you have a scholarship and college is paid for, just kind of cruise along. This is, hey, you need to do well, or you're not going to be playing much longer. So it's almost a competition within yourself as opposed to your teammates. You have to compete to be as good as you can be so you can play this game that we love for as long as you can.
What have you learned about pitching most recently?
Vince is very, very good mechanically, and he preaches, as most coaches do, pound down. And it's just something I've really picked up the past couple outings is if I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss down. I'm not missing over the plate. I'm not going to miss up. If I'm missing, I'm not going to give the hitter anything to hit.
What's the most important pitch you've ever had to throw?
The next one, because that's going to determine my future.
It's the way the pitcher thinks about it, whatever that next pitch is.
That's going to be the most important one. But in the past, I got to pitch in the Conference USA Championship game my freshman year, and those were all pretty nerve-wracking pitches. Being a freshman and being in a championship game with a regional bid on the line was pretty nerve-wracking, probably the most nervous I've been pitching.
What were the crowds like?
6,000 in Tulane usually. Southern Miss again, 4,000 or 5,000, East Carolina, but at Marshall I think we got parents and a couple friends that would come support.
Man, speaking with Arik Sikula of the Lansing Lugnuts, Erik's your middle name. Explain for me how this goes.
So if Andrew's my first name, I'm Andrew Sikula the fifth. 3 older brothers, all named Andrew. My father is named Andrew as well. Tend to go by our middle names, although my brother goes by AJ, Andrew John, older brother Andrew, and then another older brother Drew. So,
did you all major in the same sort of thing?
Everyone has their masters besides me, so I'm kind of falling behind, I think.
Do you want to get your baseball's a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I see myself doing. Everybody has an MBA, but I'm more in the lines of wanting to go to med school after baseball works out. But hopefully I can put that in the back burner for a long while.
Well, we wish you the best in both career paths, but baseball primarily. Arik Sikula of the Lansing Lugnuts. Arik, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.